of technologies and alternative methods to decrease greenhouse gases in California to help reach their 2050 goal. Greenhouse gas emissions have increased environmental impacts in recent years. Global warming's largest contributor is greenhouse gases. Research and studies in respect to greenhouse gas emissions use technology and alternative methods to help find a way to reduce greenhouse gases. The state of California is continuously creating bills, plans, laws that will help prevent the increase of greenhouse gases in future years. California is one of the most proactive states that is attempting to actually do something in respect to global warming. So California's 2050 goal, what is it, right? So California's 2050 goal is to help reduce greenhouse gases to the 1990 levels by 80%. There are numerous sectors that will be presented in this slide that will help contribute the release of gas emissions. By reducing or implementing a plan to decrease the amount of greenhouse gas emissions, California has a chance to actually do something positive and have a positive outcome in this respect. So the sector categories for technologies and alternative methods are fuel sectors, transportation, residential and commercial use, energy sectors, agricultural sectors, greenhouse cost and life cycle, and municipal solid waste. And if you put all these together and you help reduce each of these sections, California has a really good chance of reducing their greenhouse gas emissions. So California in 2005 created an order called the S305 Executive Order in 2005 by Governor Schwarzenegger to help reach their 2050 goal. So California in 2006 created an act to help implement that 2050 goal, which was called the California Global Warming Solutions Act of 2006, AB 32, where they focused on industries reducing their greenhouse gases by December 31st, 2020, which is this year. And they created also another bill in 2017 to help ensure that California will reduce their greenhouse gases to the 1990 levels to 40%, which is kind of a halfway point for California. And as you can see, this is what each of these plans indicate. So as of right now, 2020, California's levels are equal to the levels they were in the 1990s. However, in 2030, they want to reduce it by 40% to help reach their goal to 80%. The US EPA stated that increase in temperatures will continue to happen. The increase of energy and water use because of increased temperatures will happen. There are water limitations currently. California has been in a drought from 2011 to 2016. They were in a drought for 5 years. And California state right now is currently suffering. They have a lot more hotter days than they did in the past previous years, and their fires have only continued to grow. So who is in charge of tracking greenhouse gas emissions? Well, the US EPA is. And they want to make sure that they find a way to help reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So climate change, temperature, and then current impacts of California are currently fire, heat, and air quality. As greenhouse gas emissions are continuously released, it affects the temperature, which it affects the chances of more fires happening in California, number of heat days increasing, and the air quality being not the best. So as you can see, this is a photo of predictions of how California will look like in 2085. As you can see, the land is going to be burned, and there has to be a way to prevent that. And California has increased their fire prevention funding in 2017 to help find ways to decrease the chances of fires starting. And then this is a prediction of how the number of heat days will continue to increase in future decades. So the main thing that I've read in articles was fossil fuel substitution. This will help the transportation sector really reduce their greenhouse gas emissions by using food as a source for fuels. but the only bad thing is that it will lead to a food depletion. And in the 1970s, the the impacts and the interest in greenhouse gas emissions decreased and started to reappear again in the 2000s. So CAL FIRE, what is California's fire department doing? They're trying to restore the forest, isolate carbon being released, reduce fuels, increase urban forestry, and improve their management to help do their part to decrease the chances of California starting a fire. So as you can see, there's a study where they have 46 different technologies and they compare the investment of cost. And as you can see, the highest type of technology that will increase cost is hydrogen energy storage, and the one that has the less impact in cost would be the vehicle to grid, which would be the smarter solution since there isn't a lot of money to spend to try to help the planet. For fuel sectors, there are three greenhouse gases that affect it the most: carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, and methane are released because of fuel sectors. And humans' activities are what started. So the humans need electricity, and sometimes they burn fossil fuels to get their electricity, to get heat, or for their car, for their vehicle use, to use for transportation. So economic growth increasing. So California's population continues to increase, which means that California's use of transportation will continue to increase. And right now, most cars are petroleum based, and the amount of waste generated by California residents will only continue to increase. There has been a study by Ru Chen that proves that biodiesel composed of soybeans is better for the environment compared to petroleum. So people are actually trying really hard to find different studies that will indicate that and will prove that they are better to the environment compared to petroleum based. And as you can see, here's another image where an author named Yang compared business as usual compared to greenhouse gases. And as you can see, reducing the use of ethanol and increasing the use of food-based biofuels will only help increase and help California reach their 2050 goal. So the transportation sector. The United States' primary oil consumer is transportation and has been the largest contributor to greenhouse gases. So the best way to decrease greenhouse gas emissions is the transportation sector. And although California has started to put more effort in making changes with their standards, like for instance, California's current governor, Gavin Newsom, has implemented a law that makes sure that in 2030 that they no longer sell petroleum-based vehicles, that they start selling zero-emission vehicles, which will definitely help reduce transportation section. So the outcome, people will be forced to buy zero-emission vehicles. They will reduce the amount of petroleum-based vehicles and slowly decrease greenhouse emissions. So definitely a great start, but California definitely needs to do something and continue to increase what they are doing to help reach their 2050 goal. There's a study that shows that the CA Times focuses on California's role in transportation greenhouse emissions in the primary focus of decreasing global warming. And according to this model, according to the California's energy system, it was made to help understand how California will achieve their 2050 goal by reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And as you can see in this image, they compare fuels and electricity and find alternative methods and technology that they can use to decrease their greenhouse gas emissions. California Times was designed to cover the energy supply, feedstocks, fuel production and conversion, fuel imports and exports, and demand in California. So they tried to use business as usual, greenhouse gas step, greenhouse gas line, so 3 different methods to see which one will be the best. And as you can see in this photo, greenhouse gas line is the best because it continues to drastically decrease the amount of use in transportation, residential, industry, commercial, and agriculture. And as you can see, the decrease of gasoline and the decrease of different petroleum-based fuels will really help decrease greenhouse gases in the transportation section. So for the residential and commercial use, covers the space needed for cooling, heating, water heating, cooking, and other appliances that use electricity inside these households. And all these appliances use petroleum-based gasoline or biofuels to help generate the appliances. In 40 years, there will be more residents and commercial areas that will require more electricity. So they definitely need to find a way to decrease the input put into these appliances and find a better way to generate electricity. So for the energy sector, California's 2050 target is similar to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, emissions to decrease gas emission to 40-50 parts per million carbon dioxide equivalent CO2e. So to reduce the risk of anthropogenic interference with climate, there has been a study that shows that this technology has helped predict the outcomes of greenhouse gas emissions to certain contributors. So the model of the study used baseline scenarios and mitigation scenarios, and the goal of the baseline scenario was to get 85 MT CO2e, and the mitigation model was to decrease it to 85 MT CO2e to decrease emissions. And as you can see here, decreasing the energy and implementing a certain percentage of MT CO2e will help California reach their goal. Agriculture sector, people don't think that agriculture plays a large role, but it does. 30% of agriculture is contributing to greenhouse gas emissions. So corn is a product that, if grown, can really help with using biofuels and decrease the amount of petroleum base. But the disadvantage is that growing these crops require a lot of water, which California doesn't really have, and the food availability will decrease. Another alternative method is the corn stover, used as fuel technology to convert agricultural residue to ethanol, and it is 65% better than gasoline. So the greenhouse cost and lifestyle. Cellulosic biofuel will reduce greenhouse gas is by burning lignite and biogas to conduct electricity and heat. Advanced biogas can create strong carbon dioxide, and if mixed with rich carbon dioxide, it can then be used to generate. Future perspectives and challenges are climate change, air quality, realistic studies, and cost. Although these studies, these technologies are a great way to help California reach the goal, some of them are not really realistic. For instance, like the decreasing waste by 40%. It's difficult because residents in California continue to grow, and each person generates a lot of waste per day. So in conclusion, there's not just one method or one technology that can help reduce greenhouse gases in California. There are multiple, and all of them combined can make a big difference. Everything has a connection to one another. The cause of greenhouse gases is like a domino effect. And for instance, if the release of greenhouse gases is affecting global warming, our temperatures will increase, which our energy use will increase, transportation use will increase because people are not going to walk on hot days. So it is like a domino effect. And all these different technologies, practices, and regulations can help implement a cleaner planet. The best way California can reach their 2050 goal is difficult, but it's not impossible. And with the help of technology and research within the next couple of decades, California has a great opportunity to be able to reach their goal by 2050. Thank you, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.